Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. The mainstream media has released the name of the shooter as well as the two victims that were supposedly killed in addition to himself. I've already made a video on this shooting without these details because they were not released at the time. I want to talk about the significance of the shooter's name, how it connects to the movie Trainwreck, which I already had much attention on, and what this means for the date September 23rd, the 266th day of the year, the date the 266th Pope, Pope Francis, comes to visit on. So we'll go over these headlines, the coding behind the words, why they're using the phrase drifter. I want to start with the movie Trainwreck, though, Truth Seeker. Earlier this year, May 12th, the 132nd day of the year, there was a train crash in Philadelphia. And that train crash happened at 9:23 p.m. 9:23 p.m. The Pope is coming on the United States on 9/23, September 23rd. He will be visiting Philadelphia. And Philadelphia is the nation's original capital. Also, it comes from the Bible in Revelation, where the Church of Philadelphia is mentioned. It has a connection to the synagogue of Satan. Notice this movie Trainwreck. It was given a 6.1 out of 10 by IMDb. This is because IMDb is part of this gematria numerology coding. If you think that sounds loony, I wish it was. Sadly, it is not. The word church has gematria of 61, a number that's been coded heavily in the media recently. And of course, Philadelphia is named after the Church of Philadelphia, coming from Revelation. So 6.1, 61, very significant. Been talking about that number a lot lately. The movie's set to release today, July 17th, a date with 39 numerology, like the number of books in the Old Testament. Revelation is based on the Old Testament. It's also a date with a 59 numerology. They're now saying the killer is a 59-year-old. Yesterday it was a 58-year-old, now he's 59. But the biggest thing about this movie, Truth Seeker, well, there's a couple things. Trainwreck has this gematria of 122, just like Pope Francis, just like Golden State and San Francisco, who just defeated LeBron James in the NBA Finals. We'll talk more about that. But LeBron James is the star of this Trainwreck movie. And look at his name in Jewish gematria, Truth Seeker, 923 as it happens, a lot like the date September 23rd. The shooter's name is just like this, which we'll get to. But there is a reason that this hoax involves the movie Trainwreck. It's more of the foreshadowing of what's coming September 23rd, which was also foreshadowed on May 12th when we had the Philadelphia train crash. And with regards to that number 122, look at what time they posted this article. 12:20 p.m. Eastern Time, or 122. This stuff is not a coincidence, True Seeker. 122 is getting coded very heavily right now in the media. 61 times 2 is 122. How these numbers come together. So theater gunman, kind of a drifter. Let's see what this is all about. His name is John Russell Hauser, which in Pythagorean gematria sums to 77. The phrase kind of a drifter in Pythagorean gematria sums to 77. And notice how drifter has this 44 gematria. That's the kill number. The word kill sums to 44 in simple English, 59 in Jewish. And look, they're saying he's 59 years old now. Yesterday it was 58. Today it's 59. What's real concerning, though, is his name in simple English gematria. John Russell Hauser sums to 239. And in lots of parts of the world, they write the day before the month. So the date September 23rd is 23-9. This number's been getting coded heavily a lot. In a recent article about biological warfare tests in the United States, they said that the United States government did 239 tests from the 50s through the 70s. Also, the United States turned 239 years old this July 4th. From 1776 to 2015 is 239 years. I talked about how in the movie A Little Shop of Horrors, in the beginning of that movie, it talks about how the end of the world type of event will come on the date of September 23rd. I'm not someone who thinks the end of the world's coming, but I do think they have a big hoax lined up for us. 9/11 Part 2, whatever you want to call it. September 23rd to September 28th, I fully expect it to go down within those dates. I will be truly shocked if they don't do something. And I don't put out this information to scare people. To me, knowledge is power, knowledge is awareness. If they go ahead with this hoax, we have all this evidence, all this ammunition to show what's really going on in the world. We can hold the real parties responsible. That's what needs to be done. It's going to take a lot of work, but this research right here, with enough minds aware of it, is enough to change the course. The course of history must be changed. So anyway, John Russell Hauser, the shooter, 239, shoots up a movie starring LeBron James with the 923 gematria. Again, that Philadelphia train wreck happened at 9:23 p.m. Also, Truth Seeker, get this. John Hauser in Pythagorean gematria, if we drop that middle name, sums to 52 with the S exception 61, those numbers again. What's interesting about 239 is that it is the 52nd prime number. No joke. 239 is the 52nd prime number. See how his name has this coding within it? The word Pope has simple English gematria, 52. The Pope is coming on the September 23rd, the 266th day. He's the 266th Pope, Pope Francis. In simple English gematria, the name John Hauser sums to 133. The word anger equals 133. The word temptation equals 133. This story will spark a lot of anger, fear, all sorts of negative emotions. And honestly, I think the only reason people watch television is for the temptation, because I think almost everybody alive knows that nothing positive comes out of the television. I've called it the lie box, since about the time I was 18. I just turned 32 this week. So for 14 years. The victims are said to be a 21-year-old and a 33-year-old. Of course, they love to code 33 into all the hoaxes. We've seen a lot of 21 this year. The Super Bowl, which I predicted to watch for the numbers 52 and 144 coming together this year, involved this September 23rd date. September 23rd is the date of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, which has gematria of 144. It's also the day the Pope visits, which has gematria of 52. I bring that up because the Super Bowl was on February 1st, a lot like 21. The Super Bowl this year ended with a sum score of 52. It happened in a location with a gematria of 144, Glendale, Arizona. It was played between two teams with 14-4 records, and there was a lot of 12 focus. The 12th Fibonacci number is 144. 12 times 12 is 144. If I'm losing you with all these numbers, I apologize. But let's just come back to 21. With regards to the Super Bowl, where I made this prediction out of, which has come true in many ways, it ended with Russell Wilson's 21st pass being intercepted by number 21 with 21 seconds left in the game on the down of 2-1, 2nd and 1. And again, the game was February 1st, 2-1. Also, it was Russell Wilson in the Seahawks' first pass on the goal line all season, and it was the first time all season that number 21, a rookie for the Patriots, played on the goal line. There's even a lot more coding than that, but these numbers were all crucial in the Super Bowl, and they're all proving to be crucial in all these hoaxes waged against us. The word Bible has Pythagorean gematria of 21, and all these numbers come from the Bible. So these names, in simple English gematria, the 21-year-old's name sums to 122, like Pope Francis. We were talking about like Trainwreck, how it's coded. Her name is just like the movie. And then Jillian Johnson sums to 162, which is interesting because in Jewish gematria, the end sums to 162, a famous line from movies. Also in baseball, which even factors into this, Major League Baseball sums to 162. It's on a 162 game schedule. And MLB in English gematria, the acronym, also sums to 162. The first post ever put in the Hoover Dam when it was being constructed had the number 162 painted on it. You should watch my video on last year's World Series in the Hoover Dam. All this stuff syncs up, if you can believe it. It's nuts. There was a recent blackout at a Dodgers national game that was an hour and 22 minutes. 1-2-2. All this stuff really ties together. It's really why it's all coded this way. For years I've been trying to say this. People have been saying I'm a lunatic, but now the evidence is mounting so hard it's becoming undeniable. The police officer name they used this morning was Michael Edmondson, another 33 name. You know, there's a lot of Michaels in the world, but you see a lot of it in police reporting because there's a lot of 33 reporting in these hoaxes. Yesterday, they said the shooter was 58 years old, not 59 years old, and 58 connects to the prior theater shooter, James Egan Holmes, who was on trial, had a verdict last week, name gematria of 58. Also, the theater shooting yesterday was in Grand Theater, which sums to 58 as well. So I thought this was why they were using the 58 coding yesterday. It's interesting that they changed it to 59 today. Obama will be speaking in Kenya on July 26th. From July 26th to September 23rd is 59 days. 59 is a number coded all over black Americans. Again, it is the kill number in Jewish gematria. MLK assassinated April 4th, 4-4. First president to ever die in office died on 4-4. The last president to die in office was John F. Kennedy, the 44th term president. The name John F. Kennedy with Pythagorean gematria sums to 59. Why? Because we live in a world of coded numbers, a scripted world, a pre-planned world, a giant hoax being waged against us on the daily, enslaving us to lies. This headline right here, Truth Seeker, The Dead and the Drifter, has Pythagorean gematria of 98. I want to talk about this number. If you're new here, all throughout the year, I've been talking about how all the hoaxes are synced up with Lupercalia. Lupercalia is a festival on the 44th day of the year, February 13th. It has Pythagorean gematria of 44, like the 44th day of the year, and simple English gematria of 98. The reason this is important is because we're talking about this movie Trainwreck, this shooting that starred LeBron James. If you're new to my work, I predicted that the NBA Finals would be Cavs-Warriors before it happened. My prediction was not entirely correct because I predicted the Cavs would win the series 4-2. I got it backwards. Golden State won 4-2. But get this. Game 1 of the NBA Finals went to overtime 98-98, and the game came exactly 98 days after the two teams played last. Also, remember the NBA Finals began June 4th. The college finals were April 6th, 4-6, the reverse of this. And the college finals were won by Duke Blue Devils and Coach K. And Coach K's birthday is Lupercalia, the 44th day of the year, the day with the 98 gematria. All these sports are synced up. Anyway, the game goes to 98-98, NBA Finals Game 1, overtime. 98 days after the two teams played last. It was this February 26th game that allowed me to predict the NBA Finals would be these two teams. So my prediction from that day ended up having even more synchronicities as time played out. That's why you want to follow my work. You follow this work, you'll become one of the most knowledgeable people in the world. There's no joke to that. I mean, I have knowledge and information from researching this and presenting this that wasn't available in the world before. You know, it's sad that I only have 5,000 subscribers right now. I should have over 1 million because everybody needs this information so they can know what the fuck is really going on in this world. You know, I've been awake since I was a little kid, Truth Seeker. Took me a long time to come this far, but it's all from being awake. From Lupercalia this year to the NBA Finals was 111 days or 3 months and 22 days. And look at what the NBA Finals sums to in gematria. 111-322. My point is that everything is synced up with Lupercalia this year. Sports, the Triple Crown, the hockey, all of it. All of it has been synced up with Lupercalia just like this church shooting hoax. And remember, LeBron James, star in the NBA Finals, star in the movie of this shooting hoax. With regards to Lupercalia, Truth Seeker, and the Philadelphia train crash, this is what I want to fill you in on. From Lupercalia to September 23rd, the date being hinted at, even by this most recent church shooting, is a span of 222 days. In the Philadelphia train crash, it was an Amtrak train. Look at the Jewish gematria of Amtrak. 222. 64 is another special number too. But 222. And it's 222 days from Lupercalia to September 23rd. Everything about this train crash was coded with 98. It's how I figured out Lupercalia in the first place. Because they coded 98 on everything. Michael Anthony Nutter, 98th mayor. The expert who said the train was traveling 106 miles per hour, his name summed to 98. Every expert they put on TV, the medical examiner who said 7 people died, his name summed to 98. The victim's name summed to 98. Just over and over and over. Earlier this year, there was also the plane crash hoax in the Alps. Andreas Lubitz, initials AL, and co-pilot Patrick Sonnenheimer, PS. Their initials summed to Alps, like where the plane crashed. They showed us this image of the pilot in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. If you go back and watch my older videos, I used this crash story to predict that the Duke Blue Devils would win the college basketball championship, which they did. And if you can believe it, I made the prediction based off of this plane crash. That might sound crazy to you, but once you learn how all this stuff synced up, it becomes very clear. Californium, which sounds a lot like California, is the 98th element on the periodic table. I don't want to bury you guys with too much. I just want to show you how all this stuff is really synced up. Again, the 52nd prime number is 239. Numbers coded into the name John Hauser. Also, looking deeper at his name, it's summed to 239, but look at how you break it down. John sums to 47. Very important number, gets coded often like 74. Russell sums to 106, a number being coded into everything right now. The word prophecy equals 106. The Philadelphia train crash, it was supposedly going 106 miles per hour. The recent church shooting in Charleston had 106 coded all over it. Also, Tea Party sums to 106, and I heard that this man, John Russell Hauser, was a major Tea Party advocate. So Tea Party's coming up again. 106 equals Tea Party, just like Russell. And then Hauser sums to 86. The words symbol, triangle, and pyramid all equal 86. 86 was coded into the headlines yesterday of the church shooting initially. It was CNN's first headline summed to 86. So there's so much coding here. It's so deep. If you're new to this work, if this is the first video of mine you've seen, you're probably overwhelmed. But I'm telling you, go back and watch my older videos. This information will sink in. It will become all the more clear. You will understand why they do this coding, what the numbers mean, why they're so persistent. Just all a big joke, Truth Seeker. John Hauser, 52, full name 239. The 52nd prime number 239. Can't say it enough. And then, of course, it's the Pope visiting on the day of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. 52 and 144, just like I predicted on February 1st. Watch for those numbers this year. They're going to be huge. When I said that, I didn't know about September 23rd, but all this research is how I've gotten to figure it out. This story was about the 239 biological warfare tests in the United States from the 50s to the 70s. Here it is, 239 germ warfare tests over populated areas. Probably why the nation has all sorts of disease and illness that other parts of the world don't have, because we're treated like guinea pigs here, which I've seen since I was a kid. And I hate that the sheeple cannot see it. And also, True Seeker, get this. The article about these 239 tests, they talk about how the first test was done in San Francisco. The chemicals were released from the bay near the Golden Gate Bridge. Look at the Jewish gematria of Golden Gate. 239. Something that could be targeted in this week of September 23rd to September 28th. In Jewish gematria, Hoover Dam equals 928, like September 28th, the day of the final blood moon. Just so much coding here, Truth Seeker. With regards to Golden State, in San Francisco. San Francisco also sits on the 122nd meridian. Not only does it have 122 gematria, it has coordinates of 122. Just like Seattle. West Coast cities in focus right now. I live in Seattle. They gave us those headlines that Portland and Seattle might get wiped off the map with an earthquake. As someone who's lived here my whole life, they've been telling me that since I was a little kid. When I bought my house in 2012, BBC released a documentary saying Portland or Seattle are going to be the first cities to experience a 9.0 or higher direct hit earthquake. Lots of fear-mongering out there, truth seeker. Maybe they got real plans, but they also have real fear-mongering intentions. And a lot of times they don't deliver on their fear-mongering. But with regards to all the coding lining up for September 23rd, the fear-mongering seems a little bit more real this time. But don't be scared, just be aware. Let's close out by watching this mainstream news coverage. Watch the liars in action. Remember the name Bobby Jindal sums to 96. His birth name sums to 58. Just like the coding yesterday, the shooting has a 58 name, the old theater shooting 58. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Our shooter is John Russell Hauser. Houser.
He should have just came out and said the shooter's name is September 23rd.
He's a white male, 59 years of age. He previously resided in the state of Alabama. He's kind of a drifter. He's been in Lafayette since early...
You guys see, that's just what I mean. Why the fuck do they need to say that? He's kind of a drifter? What the fuck does that really mean? If you haven't seen my video on the book 77 Days Later and how it connects to September 24th of this year, please watch that. That might be the reason for that kind of a drifter 77 coding. It connects to September 24th, the day after September 23rd. Also, Judaism equals 77, and it's Zionist Masonic Jews who are behind all these jokes. They're the ones who worship these numbers, who give them the most worth out of all spiritualities in the world. Well, them and Satanists. All right, here we go.
July, as far as we can tell. He was staying at a...
July. Listen to the way he just said it. And here is a lie. Also, on 77, I just want to make one more point. On September 11th, the biggest hoax we've ever experienced as a nation this far, it was Flight 77 that hit the 77-foot-tall Pentagon that is on the 77th meridian, known as the American meridian. And why is it the American meridian? Because America has always been a Zionist Jew creation.
A local motel on University Avenue. He was driving a 1995 blue Lincoln Continental.
Notice that 1995 has numerology of 114. We're in the time of the 114th Congress. Also, 95 is the reflection of 59. His new reported age, the number having to do with kill.
We found wigs and glasses and disguises basically in his room. His vehicle had a switched license tag on it.
Wouldn't it be something if he has all these costumes because he's a government employee and dresses up as different characters at different hoaxes like so many of these other crisis actors?
Was parked right outside an exit door of the theater. It is apparent that he was intent on shooting and then escaping. What happened is the quick law enforcement response forced him back into the theater, at which time he shot himself. No devices were found in his vehicle. No devices were found in the theater.
You know, as I listen to this scumbag and I look at these three other pieces of shit behind him who've all gone on the TV and done their lying as well, it reminds me that Utah passed these new laws recently bringing back firing squads. Utah now has firing squads for a means of death penalty. You know, I'm not really a big fan of killing and the death penalty, but I think all these liars who go on TV and act like this shit's real when they know they're lying need to be hauled down to Utah, and we need to be able to line up as a citizenry and put about 1 million bullets in all of their bodies. You know what I mean? Bobby Jindal, 96, like Freemason, like Satanism. These people are the scum of the earth.
far as we know, one .40 caliber handgun is involved. That weapon has been recovered. It appears that at least 13 rounds were fired during the time he was in the theater discharging the weapon.
With regards to 13, Truth Seeker, we know all about that number. Yesterday, when they did his age of 58, 5 plus 8 has numerology of 13. Possible reason they also used the number 58 yesterday.
Our victims are Macy Bro, a white female, 21 years of age. She died on scene. Jillian Johnson, a white female, 33 years of age, died at the hospital. Of the 9 victims that were hospitalized, 2 have been released. 1 victim remains in critical condition. This is John Russell Hauser, white male.
And yet again, another super grainy image. One of the many signs of the hoaxes.
Age 59. We're asking for anyone who had contact with him, had interaction with him, to please call that number 337-291-8655.
Did you just hear that number? The only people who had contact with this guy were the FBI. And likely this police officer before the hoax happened. These people are sick.
50.
So that's it, Truth Seeker. I mean, anybody who comes here and denies this work, they are a complete moron. This is undeniable. This is case closed. This is game over. Like I said when I did the video with my face on the screen, I called it the Mission 2015. I said we need to come together. We need to form action groups. And we need to start showing up at these hoaxes and presenting. Because if we were on the streets right now in Lafayette, Louisiana, with signs educating about gematria, telling everybody around there, it would be undeniable. You know, we should also all get on the phone right now and call the FBI and say we know exactly what's going on, and you guys all need to turn in your badges and handcuff yourselves. You guys are the real terrorists. You're the real fucking criminals. Your game is over. Because it is over. Their game should be over, Truth Seeker. I've had these people figured out since 2013. A lot of people were skeptics at first, but everybody who's been following just has no doubt. And it's so beautiful to see all of you practicing these skills and putting it to work. This knowledge needs to spread way more. This game needs to end. All the morons and deniers need to wake the fuck up. All right, until next time, Truth Seeker.